Let's be honest. There is a specific type of relief that only happens when you look out the window and see a storm. You were supposed to go out. You had plans. You promised your friends you would grab drinks. But now, the sky is gray, the wind is howling, and the rain is hitting the glass sideways. You pick up your phone. You type the text. Hey guys, weather looks terrible. Maybe we take a rain check? You hit send. And then, you feel it. It isn't disappointment. It isn't sadness. It is a rush of pure, unadulterated euphoria. You don't have to go out. You don't have to perform. You get to stay inside, put on your most oversized hoodie, and do absolutely nothing. But here is the problem. When summer comes around, that feeling disappears. The sun is out until 9 p.m. The world is loud. Everyone is posting photos of beaches, rooftop bars, and golden hour selfies. And you? You still want to stay inside. But now, instead of relief, you feel guilt. You feel like you are broken. You feel like a party pooper. You wonder why you can't just be normal and enjoy the heat like everyone else. Why does the sun make you tired, while the dark makes you feel alive? You have probably told yourself that you are just lazy. Or maybe you are depressed. Or maybe you are just antisocial. Stop. That is not what is happening. You are not broken. And you are definitely not lazy. In fact, if you prefer a cold, dark room over a sunny beach, your brain is actually performing a complex evolutionary calculation that 90% of people ignore. You aren't hiding from the world. You are entering a state of high-performance biological optimization. We are going to dismantle the myth that summer equals happiness. We are going to look at the neuroscience of why heat makes us dumb and why darkness makes us deep. This behavior actually falls into 3 distinct psychological types. Type 1 is what everyone thinks you are, the grumpy hermit. Type 2 is what you actually are, the sensory sponge. But Type 3? Type 3 is something rare, something powerful. If you belong to Type 3, your winter hibernation is actually a sign of a very specific, high-functioning survival advantage. But before we find out which one you are, you need to accept one truth. Your brain is not malfunctioning. It is protecting you. Let's get into the mechanics of your mind. We need to identify exactly where you sit on the spectrum, because most people stop at the surface level. This brings us to Type 1. We call this the atmospheric invert. If you are Type 1, your symptoms are physical and immediate. When the temperature rises above 25 degrees Celsius, your patience drops to 0. You don't just dislike the heat, you feel personally attacked by it. You might find yourself snapping at your friends, feeling nauseous in crowds, or feeling a strange fog in your brain when the sun is too bright. Society tells you to cheer up because it is a beautiful day. But to you, a beautiful day looks like a relentless, glaring spotlight that you can't turn off. You aren't trying to be difficult. You are likely experiencing something psychologists call reverse seasonal affective disorder. While most people get depressed in the dark, about 10% of the population experiences depression triggered by humidity and heat. Your body is screaming for a break, but the sun refuses to set. But if you relate to this, you might actually be deeper in the funnel. You might be Type 2. Type 2 is the sensory sponge. This is where we move from preference to biology. To understand Type 2, we have to look at your brain as if it were a high-end computer CPU. Imagine a computer running complex software. It needs to process millions of calculations per second. But what happens if you put that computer in a hot room and block the fan? It overheats. And when a computer overheats, it doesn't just stop. It does something called thermal throttling. It deliberately slows down its own performance to prevent permanent damage. If you are Type 2, summer is your thermal throttling state. You possess high sensory processing sensitivity. Your nervous system is designed to take in more data than the average person. You notice micro-expressions. You hear the background hum of the refrigerator. You feel the texture of your clothes. Summer is a sensory nightmare for a brain like yours. It is loud. It is bright. It is sweaty. It is chaotic. The world is vibrating at a frequency that physically hurts you. When you retreat to a dark, cool room, you aren't hiding. You are activating your cooling system. There is a concept called refuge theory. It states that humans feel most secure in small, enclosed spaces that offer a view of the outside world without being exposed to it. Think of a cave looking out at a valley. In summer, the outside invades your inside. The heat comes through the walls. The light pierces the curtains. There is no refuge. But in winter, the contrast is sharp. The world outside is hostile, cold, wet, dark. The world inside is controlled, warm, dry, lit by a single lamp. This contrast releases a cocktail of dopamine and serotonin. Your brain registers safety. The background noise of the world finally goes silent. The CPU cools down, and suddenly, for the first time in months, you can actually think. You aren't boring. You are just a high-performance machine that requires a temperature-controlled environment to function. But there is a level deeper than just needing to cool down. If you don't just tolerate the cold, but feel a surge of creative power when the sky goes dark, you are likely Type 3. We call Type 3 the evolutionary architect. Here is the twist that nobody tells you. We live in a society that is obsessed with summer energy. We value constant growth, constant visibility, loud communication, and fast results. We act as if humans are supposed to bloom all year round. But look at nature. Nothing blooms all year round. If a tree tried to produce fruit in the middle of a snowstorm, it would die. Type 3 individuals have retained a primal, ancestral wisdom that the modern world has forgotten. You understand the power of dormancy. In biology, dormancy is not death. It is not even sleep. It is a period of intense, internal preparation. Beneath the frozen ground, the seed is not doing nothing. It is condensing its energy. It is hardening its shell. It is preparing the complex genetic structures that will allow it to explode into life when the timing is right. If you are Type 3, your brain switches modes in the winter. You aren't depressed. You are entering a state of deep work. Think about your own life. When do you have your best ideas? Is it when you are at a crowded beach party in July? Or is it at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday in November, when the house is silent, the rain is falling, and you are alone with your thoughts? The darkness of winter creates a phenomenon called temporal compression. Without the sun demanding you go outside, time feels different. The days feel shorter, but the nights feel infinite. The boundaries of the world shrink down to the four walls of your room. For the evolutionary architect, this is not a prison. It is a laboratory. While the summer people are out exhausting themselves with social friction, you are conserving your resources. You are processing the data of the last year. You are healing deep emotional wounds that you didn't have time to look at when the sun was shining. You are reading, writing, planning, and building internal structures. History is full of Type 3 seconds. Think of the writers who retreated to cabins, the inventors who locked themselves in workshops. They didn't fear the cold. They used the cold as a shield to keep the world away so they could focus on something that actually mattered. So, the next time you feel that guilt for staying in, realize this. You are not doing nothing. You are strategizing, you are repairing. You are gathering the energy that you will eventually release. You are not hiding from life. You are preparing to conquer it on your own terms. Let's lock this in with one final piece of science. Why does your brain actually prefer the cold? It comes down to energy allocation. Your brain is the most energy-expensive organ in your body. It consumes about 20% of your metabolic energy. When you are in a hot environment, your body enters a state of physiological stress. It has to work overtime to regulate your temperature. It pumps blood away from your internal organs and towards your skin to cool you down. This is physically exhausting. It leaves less energy for your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for deep thinking, planning, and emotional regulation. In the cold, this reverses. Your body pulls energy inward. It consolidates heat around your core and your brain. You are literally biologically contained. Think of your energy like a rechargeable battery. Summer is discharge mode. You are expending energy. You are social, active, and outward-facing. The battery drains fast. Winter is charge mode. You are plugged in. The current is flowing back into you. If you try to run in discharge mode 365 days a year, you will destroy the battery. That is what we call burnout. Your love for the cold is simply your body's intuitive way of forcing you to plug the charger back in. So, here is the new truth. You do not have a problem. You have a cycle. The world needs the summer people. They bring the energy, the noise, and the connection. But the world also desperately needs the winter people. The thinkers. The planners. The ones who are comfortable in the quiet. The ones who aren't afraid of the dark because they know that is where the stars shine the brightest. If you are the person who smiles when the rain starts to fall, don't let anyone steal that joy. Put on the sweater. Make the tea. Cancel the plans. Embrace the hibernation. Because you aren't sleeping. You are recharging. Which type are you? Are you the type 1 atmospheric invert? Just trying to stay cool? The type 2 sensory sponge? Looking for peace? Or are you the type 3 evolutionary architect? Building your future in the dark. Tell us in the comments. And remember, stay cool.